Good morning,
Morning,
everyone,
everyone.
and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the Badass Buddha. It is sunny. I am in southern Connecticut. It's cold, though. It's been cold. We're back to winter temperatures and have been for the past few days. Tiffany Bryan, look, she beat everybody. That girl. Back to our old Tiffany. Milagros Medina, good morning. All
Hola.
right, we are jumping on already. So, good morning, Kathy Ruiz. And thank you for being here on Viva Cafe con Leche. So I am the Badass Buddha, Lori Monaco. I am your teacher, speaker, coach, mindfulness teacher, coaching on narcissistic and toxic relationships, narc abuse syndrome, CPTSD, PTSD, depression. And I am an author and I am a blogger sometimes, not very consistently. And I am a badass mom usually. And yeah. Oh, I'm a chiropractor as well. So, and I'm happy to be here. Very happy to be here. So, good
Well, I'm
morning.
happy you're here too. So, buenos días, good morning, namaste, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your sacred healer, spiritual coach. I am your artist, your writer, your author. I am CEO of Naturally Orgasmic Cafe Company, CEO
Damn right
of
you are.
Fragrance Whispers, soon to be CEO of Abuelitas Cafe con Leche.
Hell
Everything
yeah.
coffee is me. I am your traveling magician. I can paint, write, talk shit everywhere I'm at, in any continent in this world. Because that's just my gift. And I am your host here, your co-host to Viva Cafe con Leche. What better thing to do? Huh?
Right. That's right.
Salud.
So, what do you got? What have you?
And I am a glamour of 4 beautiful grandkids and 2 pain in the ass kids. Yeah. But I think I like my job of glamour way better than I ever did of just ma. This my oldest granddaughter gifted me this with my son-in-law Argenis. So I don't know if he's on today, but yeah. And I said, let me bring out the bling bling. You can't see it. It's gold.
Speaking of your oldest granddaughter, what else did she contribute to?
So what?
Didn't she contribute to your label?
Oh yeah, she drew the exotic, beautiful woman that when you look at her, she invokes some type of emotion within you. This is what I love. For my coffee company logo for Naturally Orgasmic Cafe Company. I don't have the new labels, but this is the old label. So, and it's a big painting. This right here, the Tao. She comes down more, but yeah, my granddaughter is a painter, and all medium. She does sneakers. You bring her your $200 sneakers, she's gonna paint on it. I don't know who would do that, but people do. So it's about learning who you are within and bringing out the gifts. We all possess gifts. We just don't nurture it. We don't coax it out of us. So,
My goodness, we can't keep up with everybody that's coming on. So, good morning, Nancy Green. Good morning, Carmen Nieves. Good morning, Connie. Connie's here.
She's a glamour.
Glamour times 5. Desiree is on. Desiree and Arlene Kelly, Janine Mullane, Michelle Houston, Maria Infante, Arlene Kelly. We said Arlene Kelly said, "Are you coming to Connecticut soon?"
Yes, I will be there soon, Arlene, and then I will be over for coffee. Oh my God, I love to see them all on. So I got my beautiful sister Connie. I have my sis Maria Infante, Carmen Nieves. I love when she comes on because her schedule is so tight in the morning. I love when all of you come on. Michelle Houston and Tiffany Bryant. They were like, boom, neck to neck for like a year, right?
Yes, and speaking of, so we're gonna put her out there. So tribe, you know how we support each other and we love each other. So send some loving comments to Tiffany Bryan. Tiffany's been going through some health challenges, and she's been doing her best to come on, and but it's not been easy. And we're so happy that she's here, and we're so honored to have her as well as all our tribe members. So send some love out to her through the comments, healing energy. We love you, Tiffany. We're so happy that you're here. And yeah, let's do what we do best, which is just be the best versions of ourselves for each other.
And let's go old school. Let's send prayers and love and angels to cover her and protect her. Because there's no one better than that, right? So send prayers. And with that prayers, let your energy be filled with light and love. And let's do this. And now we go on to what?
Well, let's set our intention. We'll do our mantra, and then we'll have a little conversation before we bring up our guests. So we'll set the intention then. Are we good with that?
Absolutely.
So as usual, our intention is to be intentional, and that is dedicated to Carmen A. Nieves. Always telling us to be intentional. So it is to be intentional and
to be grateful. Fill your day with gratitude. If something good, you get good news, be grateful. If you stub your toe and you feel it in your soul and you just have that quiet, ugly scream, be grateful that you were able to feel that pain. Gratitude lays in everything, no matter how dark you may see it at the moment or how bright. Be grateful for what you're experiencing. Not everything for gratitude is good, and not everything bad is bad. Salud.
And I love that. I'm so happy that you said that, because we don't think of it that way. Like stubbing our toe, we think about, oh my God, it hurts. And it does. You can acknowledge the pain. But Gladiator Guru is right. You feel it. There are people out there that would love to be able to feel themselves stub their toe, and that is the true reality of it. So thank you for saying that, because I don't even do that. Like when I do my gratitude list, I don't think of it that way. I think about the easier stuff, or the fact that I'm breathing, or the fact that I'm healthy. But the fact that I can feel pain means that I can feel it. I can, and
That
I
you
can,
are alive.
yes.
Pain reminds us that we are alive. And what greater gift to start off today to be intentional is to drive yourself to a certain place where it's filled with gratitude, because it is not, the blessing isn't in the receiving, the blessing is being able to be digging yourself out of a rut and still lend a hand to somebody, because everybody has a story. And although we may think we're down here, the depths of hell and anguish and grief and sorrow, I don't think they have that fondo. They don't have that. I can't I can't think in English for that word. So I just think, yeah, be grateful. We say, oh, I wish I had money so I could travel to the other side of the world. And when my husband was dying from ALS, his only wish was that for one day during his illness, that he would be unparalyzed and be able to walk from the front door to the mailbox. And I just thought, like, really? And when you think of it, if he had a wish to make, I said, if you had one wish, somebody came here, I rubbed the lamp, that would be your only wish. He said, yeah, I would wish to walk from the door to the mailbox and retrieve my mail. So what we may think is all grandiose, sometimes it's just the most minimalist thing that just fills your being with just a light of joy. Be the joy in your life today. Be intentionally grateful.
And you did make it twice this week, Michelle. We're so thankful for that. That's so exciting. So exciting. So that was beautiful. And I think that especially when we're in a place where we're just not happy, we're just so, I don't know, we have to really gratitude can shift us. It can totally shift us. And it doesn't take much effort. You just sit quietly and you just think about what you're grateful for. And I had Gladiator Guru on my list every single day.
And thank you.
I
Be grateful that you have the opportunity to make a list of things you're grateful for. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's like we miss so much. I miss so much too. Let me tell you, I'm Puerto Rican and Italian. My rage goes from 0 to 60 quick. And that has been my biggest effort since my husband passed away 5 years ago, to try to manage, because I don't want to control it, but I want to manage it. And so I've been, with every day it gets better. And then with every instant that happens to provoke me to become that beautiful, feisty woman, and I don't, and then I'm like, wow, this time a couple years ago, my bats wouldn't be in the bathroom and in my back room. So you know what? It's gratitude, because change doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually. And then before you know it, you're like, damn, I would have ripped the throat out for that. And look at, I'm like, have a good day. Like, who am I? There were times when I would ask myself, who am I? Because this is not the Margarita that I've lived with all my life, but it's a good one. It's good. It's good to be able to change, to manage. Okay. Hi, Wanda.
Good morning, Wanda. Delilah Sanchez, Iritza's
Ah,
on.
my Aunt Dali, Piri's mom, Iritza's mom. Buenos dias, Desiree.
Carmen Grandiva is on. Chenille, Real Deal, Melissa Hernandez, Moren. Let's see.
Our 100th, right? Our 100th YouTube subscriber. Hernandez, Moren. We're never going to forget you. Yep. So good morning, buenos dias. And we can't wait to introduce our guests. So we're going to do our mantra.
Yes. And considering how many people are jumping on too, it sounds like a lot of people are very interested in understanding the minimalist lifestyle. And I think once we start this conversation, I think it's because we tend to be in tune. I can't speak this morning. We tend to be in tune with that type of environment. And we were talking, Gladiator Guru and I were talking about this when we were prepping for the show today. So it's going to be a really, really cool show. So yes, let's do the mantra, and we can get our fabulous guest, Jenny Cawthorne, on ASAP. All right. So are we ready for the mantra? Remember, say it loud, say it proud. Put your hands up if you want to put your hands up. If you have to say it quietly to yourself, you can. But then when you're somewhere that you can say it out loud, then you say it out loud. Remember this. Okay, you ready? All right, here we go. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I am beyond authentic.
And I keep it as real as I can be. Walking your truth.
All right. So fantastic. So we're going to bring on our special guest today, Jenny Cawthorne, and she is going to talk to us about minimalist lifestyle, because, this is very intriguing. And just a little aside before we bring her on, we decided to have this program because if you ever see Gladiator Guru's house, it's very, it's not jam-packed with stuff. And she'll sometimes be talking to me and she'll have me on FaceTime, and as we're going over stuff, and she's just like moving around the house, and it's so relaxing just to see what she has, or what she doesn't have really, and actually science has shown that clutter does in fact make us more stressed. It increases our cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone, and prolonged release of cortisol can actually be very damaging to our body and our brain. So this is science. This is not like we're not BSing you here. And individuals who live in a very cluttered environment sometimes get used to the clutter, and then they also become more like hoarding. Hoarding is a hoarding is an actual mental disorder. It's when people can't stop doing it, right? But a lot of times most people are just not hoarders, but they are just they don't want to get rid of stuff, or they just accumulate too much, and then they'll kind of look around and go, I don't really like this. Think about the times where you've ever went to visit somebody and you walked into their house and it was very empty. They had very minimal furniture. They wouldn't classify themselves as a minimalist. That's how they lived. They just
I like a lot of shit.
exactly. And think about how you felt when you walked in there. I know how I feel, and I know how anybody else that I've known that has walked into these, they'll say the same thing, and I say the same thing, is, oh my God, it was so relaxing in there. Like, I want my house to look like this. I want it to be this simple. And we say it and we feel it, and then we go home and it's like a bomb hit sometimes, in our house, and we want to get rid of things, and we start to, but it gets overwhelming. So we're going to talk about all those pieces of even transforming, because it's not overnight. You can't just get rid of your stuff overnight. I mean, you can try, but you do have to go through things, and there's levels of minimalist living. That's the other thing about it. So let's get our guest on.
Yes.
All right. And here we go. Hey,
hi. Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me on with your wonderful tribe. It's good to see everybody.
We are so happy to have you. So I love this. Look, so we have some comments. Desiree says, I agree with the clutter equals stress. Things, it makes me crazy. Michelle says, so stressful. Not I'm working and gone 14 hours a day. My house is a mess. Work, bed, work, repeat. Desiree says, call me a dumpster, please. So how long have you been living this lifestyle? You're still in a transition period last time we spoke, but is it further along?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. So I kind of got into minimalism after moving across the country. So I moved from Eastern Canada out to the west coast of Canada. And during the move, or I guess more after the move, when we were moving everything into the house, it kind of struck me that we just had so much stuff. And the attitude when you move into a house is, okay, now we're going to just go buy more stuff. Oh, we have some empty space, and we're going to start buying stuff to fill up all of this new space that we have. And that really started to stress me out. And I think I went through maybe like 6 months where every time we needed to buy something, I started getting stressed out, because I felt like we had just done this very freeing thing, moved across the country. And then our first thing that we did when we got there was like, okay, time to try to bog ourselves down with all of this stuff again, right? So I kind of wish that we would have got into minimalism before we moved. Would have saved ourselves a lot of money moving all that stuff across the country. But so during last summer, a friend introduced me to the Minimalists. Like, if you've ever heard of the Minimalists, they have a podcast, and they actually have a few Netflix documentaries.
It's the two guys, right? The two guys. Yeah,
exactly. So, got really into that mentality, and everything that you've been saying it's really been resonating. It's not necessarily about being a minimalist or not. It's not just like a certain aesthetic in your home. It's just about a certain mentality that you have, where it's just questioning before you buy something, do I really need this in my life? Like, is it really going to make me happy, or is it just going to take up space? Because I feel like a lot of we have kind of a consumerism culture where people buy stuff as entertainment. It's entertainment to go walk around a mall and accumulate stuff.
And to make ourselves feel better. It is definitely like what you said. Do I really need this? It's about, when you go somewhere and you see this little trinket and it's so cute, and you're like, oh, I have to have this.
Yeah.
Why? Like, why do you have to have this? Like, is it going to serve a purpose? And are you going specifically by emotions?
Yeah.
because I see this with my little daughter. You know, kids are like this. They have to have something right at that moment. Like they're shopping and they have to have that toy. They have to have this. And then and if you get it, which I'm guilty of, I've done it myself, then like a little while later, they don't care. They don't even bother with it. You know, like by the next day, it's so we have to do that as adult too. It's like, are we going to play with this, later today or the next day after that?
I think you hit on the nose. When people are empty, when they're insecure, when they're filled with portraying a persona that they have it all together, those are the people that I personally know that acquire a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping up with the Joneses is one of them. Or why could they have it and I can't? You don't need it, but I want it. It don't matter what age you are. Stupid is stupid. Hear me on.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes down to what you were saying about being intentional and having gratitude, right? Because a big part of minimalism is just sitting back and saying to yourself, like, do I have enough? I think that I have enough in my life. I have enough things and I don't need more things, right? Being grateful for what you have. And yeah.
I like what Liza wrote. I'm answering her. That's, if you see me looking down, I'm usually like scrolling on Facebook to make sure we don't miss people and the comments. But Liza wrote, can we do that with people? Oh, you had another. I'm sorry. I do not need a lot of people in my life. And then Milagros comes in with, yes, you can.
Yeah, because I mean, it seems like a funny thing to say, but a lot of the people that I follow and, the people who talk about this, there's also now a movement to minimizing, just not just the physical clutter, but also the mental clutter in your life. So if there's people in your life that aren't serving to, improve your mental state, if it's not really serving you, then sometimes you have to drop things out of your life. Activities, sometimes we fill our lives up with all of these activities and commitments and maybe some of that is clutter too. So
thank you for bringing that up, because when we talk about minimalism, that's what everybody thinks. A full house, a crowded house.
The physical.
They don't think about the actual spiritual and emotional levels of that. They just think material things. But Liza, thank you. You made it into a joke, but it is so true that to be minimal is to have 2 or 3 friends, maybe because that's all that can tolerate your ass. But it's still better, right? The thing is flipping that negative into, and I think books, minimal. After my husband died, and before I left for Spain, I decluttered everything. I even got rid of the Tempur-Pedic bed. I got rid of everything, and I had pretty much an empty house. And then when my mom passed away, I did the same thing. And then yesterday I went looking for something. I said, it might be over here. And then I realized I minimalized everything, even my stuff. So everything that was extra was in a little box in the closet. How awesome is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
But continue. I'm sorry, but this is so true.
People
pick one thing and then they go with it. And it's not about all this material stuff. It's about people. It's about habits. Minimalize your damn habits.
Well, this is what I was looking up, and it says, if we want to define it, a minimalist lifestyle is the process of identifying what is essential in your life and having the courage to eliminate the rest. And I love that definition, because essential does not necessarily, it just doesn't keep it at physical. When you remove the unnecessary, you free up your time and capacity to focus on the things that truly matter in your life. Less is more. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant, again, because it's not saying it's the physical piece. That's the first thing we think of. And that's a good start.
Yeah.
But then when we start decluttering and we start getting rid of the physical, that opens up the mind a little bit more to start to notice the mental clutter and the emotional clutter and such. In addition, it says 8 misconceptions of a minimalist lifestyle. Minimalism means throwing everything out. Nothing is gained by throwing everything out. You just need to really evaluate what's best for you. Um, Minimalists don't buy new things. I've been a minimalist for, this guy's saying I've been a minimalist for years. I still buy new and secondhand things. So don't prevent yourself from buying stuff. If you need it, you need it. It's just exactly what Jenny was saying. It's like, think it through, be mindful about it. Minimalism happens overnight, or it must take time. Either one is incorrect. It's not going to happen overnight, and it might not take as long as you think. Minimalism is a number. It's like extreme minimalists sometimes use 50 things or less, and they sleep on the floor. Hell, I'm not sleeping on the floor. I'm just not doing that. Ain't going to happen. But again, this is about what you're talking about, like what's best for you. Minimalists are emotionless robots. I like that one. Meaning that they don't keep their emotional stuff, like all their pictures and all their memorabilia. And again, that's not true. They're very sentimental. So they just find other ways to lessen the amount of them. A minimalist lifestyle is unsustainable. And that's not true. Again, because you don't have to be so strict. If you're watching and seeing minimalist lifestyles, you don't have to be that strict. Minimalists have no style, because they're so plain and simple. And that's not true either. Minimalism is about deprivation, not at all. And I'm done speaking. I was just
Take it over, Jenny.
No, those all really resonate. That's exactly it, right? Yeah, I would say in terms of, so one of the big motivators behind why I am like pursuing this minimalism thing is also sustainability, right? Like, so when it says minimalism isn't sustainable, I would say it's the opposite. Because I would say as a society, we need to stop consuming so much for the environment, for social reasons, that all those things. So yeah, and definitely not about depriving yourself, because it's really just about a mindset shift. And once you have that mindset shift, it doesn't feel like deprivation anymore. It feels like you're kind of free of, it almost feels like there's a part of your brain sometimes that was just always focused on buying something, because it was like, oh, you could always run errands. There was always something that you needed. And so now once you sit back and you say, okay, really, I have enough. There's going to be things that you actually genuinely need here and there, of course, but like, yeah, it's almost like it frees up a part of your brain that was just always focused on, okay, what's the next thing that I can buy? And now you're never focused on that. It's, yeah.
I so agree with that.
I think a lot of it happens to do, like, you don't become it, but there is an awareness about it. Like, for instance, with me, I grew up in one of the, in the housing projects in Bristol, one of the worst ones. We were very poor. We were very closed off on one part of the family and very open and received in another part. Italian mom, disowned, dark-skinned Puerto Rican dad, full of love. But we grew up very poor. Like, even through my freshman to junior year, I had one pair of shoes. So when you start working, it's not about, I'm
sorry.
I'm still to this day a thrift store shopper.
Yeah.
And when I go to a store to buy something new, before I purchase it, I am visualizing how many outfits I can wear it with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To put in there. So then you have kids, and you don't want your kids to go through what you went through. So then you create bougie little fuckers, right? That now they only wear name brand, right? And that's my fault. But you don't want them to feel like you felt. So then you go through all this stuff, and I'm a secondhand purchaser for everything except my underwear, right? So my friend used to come in here when my husband was sick and say, I just love coming to your museum. And I laughed at it, and then I got a little upset, and then I sat with self, and I looked around, and I had a lot of shit. I was a thrift store manager. Whatever didn't sell by a certain amount of time, we either trash it out or donate it, and I would get it, right? And then after my husband died, I got rid of everything except my books. And then I went and with a backpack and everything that I needed for a month and a half, I carried in a backpack all through Spain. And that was the new birth of the new woman that emerged from all of that, the new Margarita. And I love it. Do I still have stuff around? Yeah. I have a lot of journals. I have a lot of books. It's not as bad as it was before, but I think there's, for a lot of people who collect a lot of stuff in today's world, I think they all have a story behind it, and we just need to revisit that story.
Yeah.
Say, that is not me anymore. I am not there anymore. Now I have a choice. And what's better for my mind, my body, and my spirit to feel at ease when I'm home? I'm sorry, carry on.
No, but exactly what you're saying. I mean, it's definitely something to get past, because that was how I was too. I'm a very sentimental person. And so before we moved into our house, we had a small apartment, and I, definitely not saying that I'm a hoarder, but it was pretty wild. Like, it was packed to the brim with stuff. And I had a very hard time getting rid of stuff, because there's always, some stuff, fine, there's no emotional tie, but a lot of things, especially when somebody's bought it for you, there's just all these emotional ties to some objects. And the minimalists talk a lot about that too, because it makes it hard to get rid of things sometimes. But you just need to question that emotional tie and say, okay, what is it about this thing that's really making it hard to get rid of? Is it the actual thing that I love, or is it the memory behind it? And is there a better way that I can capture that memory for myself than in this physical trinket that stays in the back of the closet until I look at it every 3 years?
Until it rusts away. And, that was one of my things. I never liked to, I would hold on to certain things. So when Eric passed away, may he rest in peace, people were like, why are you getting rid of all his stuff? You're trying to, and I said, no. Because what I have learned in these almost 6 years of caregiving is that he would never die as long as I carry him in my heart. And those memories that are attached to, oh my God, he bought me this pen set, but the ink went dry, but I feel bad throwing it out. Chuck it. Yeah. I think it's more empowering for you to put value on something you carry in your heart until your last breath than a piece of material that it don't work no more. So it's not being of service to anything. It's taking up space. And so I learned all of this stuff, or relearned it and reapplied it to my life when I walked the Camino de Santiago. So that was a big eye opener. But sometimes we need to displace ourselves from where we're at to then hover over it and look and say, I don't really need all that stuff, because I am magical all on my own. And everything I've absorbed and feel and loved, I carry it. I could be naked running down the street, which is my dream, by the way. And I'm still going to carry all those memories with me, right? The clothing isn't going to do anything different. So, and I think that them saying that that's perfect, and people really need to be reminded of that, because I always think of the scenario, if my house were to burn and all those memories burn, does that mean that I'm never going to remember that person again in my life? No.
Yeah, right.
So why am I living uncomfortably?
Right.
So, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's exactly it. And I think that's probably a barrier for quite a lot of people, right? And then I also found, and so this was kind of what took me on my entrepreneur journey, is that I found that I guess a big barrier to this for a lot of people is that in our society, we seem to show our love primarily through physical gifts, right? And so, that means it's a struggle for people to get rid of stuff, but it also means that people are buying and consuming all the time just in an effort to show their love to somebody else. And I personally, even before we moved across the country, even before I'd kind of discovered this minimalism thing, I think I was already that way. Like I was like, if I want something, I usually buy it for myself. Like if I need something. So for gifts, like I would just usually ask for experiences. I would ask for, my partner to take me out somewhere for the day or something like that. Um, but yeah, listening to the minimalists and stuff, I realized that it was a big problem for a lot of people, and a really big problem for parents, because parents are struggling to live a minimalist lifestyle because everybody is so generous and they're always getting their kids gifts and bringing out their gift bags at parties, and their house kind of ends up getting filled up with toys and gifts and trinkets and all this kind of stuff.
Who do you think? Who do you think is at fault there, though?
Well, I don't think anybody's at fault. I would definitely not say that it's anybody's fault, because it's really just people so generous and just wanting to show their love for these kids, right? So I don't think it's anybody's fault, but I just think that it's a situation that we're in as a society where physical gifts is the primary way that we show love to each other. And
but how do you break that if it's nobody's fault? Somebody has to be responsible to tell these kids, let's go for a walk. Let's learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
I'm tired. Let's go. My body's feeling restless. Let's go teach me how to play basketball. Like that. I mean, that's the shift that needs to take place. And like you just said, it's nobody's fault. Somebody needs to be held accountable, because then what we're doing is we're allowing the next generation to be in the same rut we're in, because nobody knows how to say no or redirect.
Exactly. Yeah. And I love that. It's about redirecting, right? And so I think it comes down to, it is the parents, but it's a hard thing for parents to do, to kind of set those boundaries on material gifts, right? So I think that's why I started my business, was to empower parents to have another option and be able to do that, so that they can set those boundaries on how much stuff is coming into their home. And definitely not to say that anybody should say never buy their kids gifts, right? That's crazy, but be more intentional about it, right?
And I think that's what it is. People are just soothing and let me just get it, because they don't want to hear their kids complain. But I'm thinking, if you set the groundwork and say, well, we were out yesterday and you got a toy and I haven't seen you play with it, or something has to be replaced with something, because then what are you creating? What are you sitting here teaching me, but you're not doing with your own damn kids? So I think there has to be something where there's some accountability, and then you have to set the tone where let's do more physical labor, or let's go walk a museum, and don't take the kid with you to the store. They don't need to be in Target anyway. You see what I'm saying?
They don't need to be in the museum store either.
There's ways to go about it. Oh man, let's go to the museum, get a toy. Well, it's a toy or an ice cream. You gotta make something and then stick to it. Don't get the toy and be frustrated not to hear them complain you're gonna buy ice cream. Because again, somebody must be responsible for the steps we're taking and in the direction that we're taking. Because if not, then what are we doing? We're teaching them that it's okay to get everything you want. You don't need everything we want.
I think the hardest part too as a parent is because I've been slowly doing this, and I have to say my youngest is pretty good with it, but we go to a party, let's say, and I heard this guy was coming in onto this conversation. We go to a party, there's a gift bag with junk that I don't need, and then, or if I have a party, like, and all of a sudden everybody gives her all these things that she doesn't need, and then we have all this stuff. And so what I've been doing is I've been taking the bags of stuff, and she'll be interested in a couple of things, and then the ones she hasn't even bothered with, I'll put somewhere and like hide them. And then usually within a couple of days, she doesn't even notice that they're not there. And we have accumulated brand new crafts. Like, I mean, I like crafts because I think I like them better than toys. But even then, it's like, what do you do with the craft when it's done? It's like, so, and now it's more of a donation thing. Now like she can go and donate an actual brand new item to a child that really doesn't have, and but it does get overwhelming, and there's an expectation. When kids come to our party, they expect a goodie bag, and if they don't get it, and even the parents do, and if they don't get it, it's like that's because we've set that up. I remember one time we went to one, and all they gave out to the kids, literally just what they gave out to kids, was a $5 Dairy Queen gift card. And there was this part of me, I'll admit, at first I was just like, wow, like $5. Then I went, wait a minute, wow, $5 Dairy Queen, because she can go into Dairy Queen and she can
order her own ice cream.
Yes. And we don't have all this crap that we don't need, that most parents are just buying just to fill the goodie bag. So we have to, that's how, it's absolutely right. You have to have the awareness, and then make the recommendations. So I know when you were talking earlier, Gladiator Guru, is that, like, we, whose fault is it? And we as parents have to collectively say, are we done with all these stupid goodie bags? Are we done with all these extra presents? Like my goddaughter, she's an only child. She's an only grandchild. She gets whatever she wants. Like so what am I to buy her as her godmother? And I gave up on that. And I'm like, that's stupid. So I buy her an experience. Like I buy her, like what I buy her every Christmas is something that's an experience. So this past Christmas, I bought her, she's into acting and singing. So I bought her tickets to go to the children's theater in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And that, to me, if she doesn't use it, that's on her, but it's better than a toy sitting that's not going to be played with, or only played with for a day. And then it just becomes, either goes to Goodwill or becomes landfill.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And that's exactly what I was struggling with too. I don't have any kids of my own, but I've got a bunch of nieces and nephews, and I saw the exact same thing. So what Little Egg does, like what the system that I've set up does, is it actually makes it really easy for friends and family to send, let's say, a contribution to their education savings account or another savings account, or even just give them a financial gift of some kind. And then it pairs that with the ability to leave like a message, picture, video kind of thing. So then, let's say they turn 18 or whenever the parent wants to do it, they get the sum of money that's been collected. So they have kind of a nest egg, right? That's why it's called Little Egg. And then they also get the kind of scrapbook that's been collected throughout the years. Oh, grandma gave you $40 on your third birthday, and they have all those memories associated with it too.
Oh, that's great.
I love it.
And then also with the experience gifts, I mean, the intention is to enable those gifts, like to education savings accounts or experiences, those alternatives that we have already, but nobody uses, right? Because they feel a little bit cold, and to try to make them feel better for everybody and warmer, because you're leaving that memory and making it special for them. So you could take them to the museum, take a bunch of pictures when they're 4 years old, they might not remember. You take a bunch of pictures, leave a little note about how the day went in the pictures on Little Egg, and then they get that when they turn, I don't know.
That's fabulous.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to look into it, because my grandkids are pretty up there. I have one that's 1.5, but the rest are like 19, 15, and 12. So, but it's still good to do that. I do that with the two that live here in Florida with me. I don't. When they were little, for birthdays I gifted them sets of books. I do that with my nieces and nephews, sets of books. Now, mind you, the majority of my family don't like to read books. They'd rather listen to something. So I would give these kids books, and I would never see them like reading it. But after that, even with my grandkids, I don't do gifts anymore at all. I built a relationship with them where if they're in trouble or they're doing whatever, they reach out, they call me, we talk about it, or they'll come over here because the big one drives, and we'll sit in my sanctuary, or I'll go spend the weekend over there, and there's that interaction where they know that I'm the one they can come to, because I'm that cool grandma, right? That's why my son-in-law it gave me the glamour thing. I don't condone things. When they're wrong, and I tell them, and I give them an opportunity to tell their parents before I do. So, and I think that's just setting the tone where,
Yeah.
and that's all I could do. Good morning. And I'm talking about his kids, our Janice Torres. And so when you put that base and then you teach them sharing, how many parents their kids have all these toys and then they're like, I don't want to share. I don't want to give it away. Well, they're her toys, so we shouldn't do that. Again, they're not of age enough to understand the concept of thing. And that's where we have to teach them, no, you've had this X amount, let's give it to someone else. And that teaches them growing, how to say, okay, I've had this expiration dates, right? Let me share it. Let me give it. Let me donate it. Let's throw it the hell away.
Yeah.
But that's what you teach. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And I think we need to start that with our kids. My kids didn't get their grades up. They were 10 and 6. Didn't get their grades up when I told them to. They were misbehaving. And I said twice, if you get your grades up, this is the consequence. And then again, you better get your grades up before the Christmas break. And no, they were still, because their father was a caterer to them. Christmas came that year. They got like a TV. My son got a PlayStation. Tiffany got ice skates. I mean, and that stereo with the microphone back in the day. I'm talking about in the 90s. And I said, okay. And Christmas morning came. I had them unwrap all their gifts. I said, don't take them out the package until you open them all. They loved it. Oh my God. I said, okay, now we're going to donate them. Because I told you once and I told you twice. And they'll still talk about that experience today, but not in a negative tone. They hated me then, but they also learned a lesson.
Yeah.
And then I said, did you die? Like, you don't have Christmas gifts. But then, you know what they said? We donated them in a hospital. So the kids in hospital beds.
Oh, that feels
And
good.
they went in and met them. And they said that was the best Christmas gift. Of course, years later. But what I'm saying is we are responsible to pay that forward to our kids to say, boom, boom, boom. Because if not, what are we creating? We're learning how to be minimalist, but we're not teaching them. And
Right.
Well, but that here, so we're taking it to the kid conversation. Now let's take it also to the people around us conversation, because when we're in the process of creating a minimalist lifestyle, we also have a lot of resistance from the people around us because they don't like that, like, oh, well, what am I supposed to buy you now, like for Christmas or for your birthday? Don't, like, you don't have to. If you say to them, listen, for my daughter's birthday or for Christmas, put into her education fund, some grandparents, some aunts, uncles, friends, whatever, they're not even comfortable with that because because it becomes about them. It's like, well, why would I want to do that? Because they're not going to see it. It's like, but it's not about you. It's about them. And you don't have to worry about them because I'm the parent. But it's the same thing with even just decluttering your house. There might be people that resist you and say, my God, your house, it looks like you're a pauper, like you have nothing, or you're moving. Or you're moving, and they bring you things, like they bring you stuff, and you have to teach people. Not only are we teaching our children how to be, we have to also teach the people around us how we want them to be around us. So you don't have to change your lifestyle, but please honor my choices. If I'm trying to minimalize my life and I have children, you have to honor that fact that I want to minimize my life with my children. That's so. And you have to, and when again, it's just like any change. Whenever we change ourselves and people around us are uncomfortable with it because they're used to us being who we are, it doesn't even have to do with minimalism. We have to give them a chance to respect it and understand it, because they may not agree with it because it makes them uncomfortable. Especially if you know somebody's very cluttered and you're like, I'm done, I can't be cluttered like that anymore. And you don't want to be cluttered. For them, they feel so uncomfortable coming into your house. It's just like you would if you're going into their house so cluttered. But you're not going to go in there and say, can't you get rid of all this crap? I mean, you might if it's your parent or it's a sibling. But most of the time we don't say anything, and we just don't say anything. So when they feel the need to say it to you, that's when you also have to stand your ground and say, well, you know what? That's how you live your life the way you live. I live my life the way I live, and I'm going to respect yours and you respect mine, and stand your ground. because this is about you. This isn't about anybody else.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who has to adjust or what time they take. Oh, your house looks so empty, then don't come visit me no more.
Yeah, no, that's better. Good. And then if you see that it's
for sensitivity, you're a hoarder, I'm not. Let's adjust. Let's meet in the middle at a coffee shop because I can't mess with your mess.
Yeah.
You can't mess with my less.
Yeah, I love that.
Middle.
I like that. You can't mess. I can't. Would say it again?
I can't mess with your mess, and you can't mess with my less. And so, okay, clutter gives me anxiety. I just wouldn't return. That's my son-in-law, my fabulous son-in-law. Yes, and I'm like I'm gonna check out that Hello Little Egg because that sounds phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we launched in August. It's not up and running yet, but I'm just promoting it on Instagram and stuff, and then it should be launched by August. I'll have the system up and running.
Penny, write it down if you're not driving because my son-in-law loves all of that. He really does. He's
Well, what we're gonna do is we have it listed in the comments, so you well, how to reach you and connect. So we'll start off with connecting with Jenny on Instagram. Is that Instagram and Facebook, right? Is it just Instagram?
Yeah, they're two different ones. The Instagram is the
so connect on Instagram and Facebook with her, and then when she's ready to launch, and it's just in time too. I think it's August. You're heading right to the holidays, and so this is a consideration. This is something that's very, very cool. I mean, I've learned over the years too. Like one of the things that I thought was really phenomenal and this came across 15 years ago now. Let me see, 15, maybe a little less, but those picture books, that like you could take your pictures and your digital pictures and then just put them into a book, because first off, they're either staying on your computer or your phone and they just sit there, or you're like us, old school, where we got like the photos,
Don't make me pull out my boxes with photos.
Right. And what do you do with all those?
I bring them out when people come so they can leave.
And then if you're really old school, you got like negatives, you got like black and white, you got slides, And so what do you do with all these things? Literally, we have slides from when, like, even before I was a kid, like before I was born, and they just sit there. They don't get used. We have the projector, but I don't even know if it works. So what do we do with those things? That's clutter. When you actually look at it, we probably have about 4 or 5 full-size Rubbermaid bins of pictures and slides. Wow. What do you do with them? It's an investment, but you can always get one of those places to just take them and put them into a book. Then it streams it down to it. Then you can easily see them. And they do it even with negatives. You might be like, well, I don't know which ones to pick. Remember, back in the day, you used to take pictures. You had like pictures where you're like this. You're like, not even you're like, wait, it's like, and you still have them. So you know what? If that's the case, here's a thought. You want to do something spectacular with your family as a together thing. Sit at the table, make a beautiful dinner, have wonderful drinks available, sit down or on the couch or whatever, and start going through these boxes and save the pictures that you want, and then move them to another format so that they're not cluttering anymore. And then you can say goodbye to those pictures because you have them in the book, and I think, but it is time consuming sometimes unless you have somebody else do it for you. But that's one way to keep the sediment, keep it simple, right? How much easier would it be for people to come visit you? I know, Gladys, you are your book person. You like that you have it set up in your living room where it's like a little place where you could sit and read. But how cool would it be also to have a picture book of the lives of your kids, your grandkids, all the things you've done, and just sitting there on a table and somebody just flip and go, oh my God, do you remember this? Look at my hair, that kind of stuff.
Let me tell you, although minimalism is awesome and it's not everything, boom, 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 boom. When I got the image of my kids and stepping on Legos, that's why I was going on about toys and stuff like that. And they had 3 chances before I went to the garbage. I don't care how much it was. But that is our biggest crime as parents, is to think we're going to have them live a better life than us. And that's not what we're creating. But I love opening the box and using my five senses. You see the box, you're like, oh, there's some great pictures, and you open it, you're smelling the oldness of it, and then you undo pictures that are stuck
That
together
are stuck together.
into it, and you're feeling it, and then you're invoking all those memories that only those pictures can provide for you because the people are not here, or that that time gone. So I mean, when you choose to become a minimalist, choose wisely, because not everything is for everybody. I personally prefer the slipping of the pictures and the seeing the scrape and then reading the backs of it. Like what?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so and so. Then you look at it again, and that makes me happy. So
yeah, I will say for me too, pictures were one thing that I didn't get rid of a lot of pictures at all. I know the minimalists are all about getting rid of the tubs of pictures, but I got rid of a lot of clothes. But like you said, you have to pick and choose what makes you happy, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's deciding what parts of all the things you want to make you happy.
So that's the take here is, here's what we want you to do this weekend. Okay. Just really look around your house, like really look and say, am I too cluttered? Do I have too many things? Can I afford to just get rid of a few of these items? We don't want it to be like so uncomfortable that your living room is so empty that you're like, oh my God, like where's there to sit now? Like I only have two places to sit and like all these people come over. You want to just make it so that what would make me comfortable, maybe rearranging things a little bit, moving stuff out, see how it looks when you pull a few things out, and then go through closets. Do I really need these things? And before you go to yourself, oh my God, this is such a big job. Take one step at a time. Start with one closet, one room, and really ask yourself, do I need all this? Do I need all this? What is it? What purpose is it serving me? I'm not a shoe person, but I became a shoe person after I got out of my depression and became this individual who never really took care of herself, never really looked great, always just looked frumpy. And then when I got out of that funk, I was like, screw that. I'm like, I'm buying hot looking boots and and I must have had, I accumulated like 12 pairs of boots. And then a little while later, like a couple of years later, I went, you know what? I'm actually not wearing all these boots. So I'm going to send these to Goodwill. Like I'm going to see which boots I don't need anymore, even though I love them and they're pretty and I did wear them. Which ones realistically do I wear all the time? And I did. And I cut it down to 4 pairs of boots that I like, but it needed to happen at that moment. Like I needed to do that for myself because it was an emotional thing. But then I calmed it down because then I started to just be more in touch with who I am and what I really want. And that's the other piece.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know who you are at this moment in time and then ask yourself, do all these things help define me? And if they don't, that's how you purge yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Another really good tip is to just keep a bin in your closet or something. Like you've got your donation bin, keep putting stuff in it as you walk around your house and think of things you don't need. And that's a little bit easier because you can tell yourself, okay, I'll give it 3 weeks and I can take it out of the bin if I really decide that I want it. And honestly, 10 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, you're going to completely even forget that you put it in that bin because it's out of your mind as soon as you put it in there.
Before we leave, Jenny, because that was great, do that. If you have a problem separating from material things, do that. Like I love big gaudy jewelry, but that always served as my armor, and I really just don't like little flimsy little necklaces with a little diamond in it. I'm like, what's the purpose? Like, how do people wear that? Because it's not me, So when I see people with them little, like my daughter with that little chain with the diamond in it, I'm like, how much was that? This probably, the whole set might cost me $25 and you're paying $100 to that. But again, that's all like how we do things, right? As a molestation and rape survivor, this always served as a protection for me. Oh my God, did you? And I'm gonna wear it right to the day I die. I'm gonna be one of those jazzy, feisty old ladies if I get to that age. But if there's 3 things before we leave that you can tell our tribe about how to be becoming a minimalist, what would they be?
I would say number one thing is it definitely doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? It's a spectrum, so you just do as much as you're comfortable with. Number two is just think before you buy something. That's really what it's all about is, donating once you've already had the stuff in your life is one thing, but it's so much easier to just think before you let things into your life that start cluttering up. And then, number three is just sit back and be grateful for what you have too, right? Just be intentional, consider, having gratitude for everything that you already have, and just consider whether that's enough and whether you really need more material things or more activities and just more general clutter in your life.
I love today. I'm gonna tell you why. I thank you for coming on and sharing that expertise. And then the badass Buddha shared some very deep things as well. When I'm in the middle, as I am right now, I'm on that seesaw. It's like, throw it the hell out. We don't need it. We haven't used it in 6 months. Why am I gonna go through that box? That box has been sitting there, taped with like 3 other boxes on top. People feel the need. Well, I gotta go through. I don't know what's in there. You didn't need it for 6 months, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just trash it. Don't even open it. Don't do it. When there's people that have to go through every freaking piece of paper. Now, because I am the way that I am, I've always been like, just throw it the hell out. And I had no understanding of why you had to go through every piece of paper. Because guess what? 8 out of the 10 shit in there, you're going to put right back in the box. Because of some emotional, some moment, something, some memory. But then I had to, took me years, but then I have to understand everybody's different. Everybody can be like me. Exactly. I thank you both, because you know what? When that information comes in waves like that, it's a perfect harmony. Like you're like, oh, okay. I needed to hear this just to soften me just a little bit more today. And I hope that it reached that with the tribe. And Chanel wrote this: how can you help shift the mindset of a spouse?
That's such a good question. And I wish that we'd had time to touch on that, because I had struggled with that a little bit. My partner is not as minimalist as I am. And it's just, it is about compromise, right? You have to make compromises. So we buy new stuff. Sometimes a good compromise that we have too is buying things secondhand. So I'm a huge secondhand shopper, very sustainable, and also shopping secondhand is very cool now. So that's kind of our compromise that we make too.
I love secondhand. I love Goodwill. Goodwill a little bit. Goodwill.
Well, this was great. This was great. Everybody loved it. Michelle, yes, don't forget to vote for Jeffrey. So there's the link. You can vote right for Jeffrey for the hero dog. And everybody's been really, really great with the information. I think they've been very excited about this particular episode. Mm-hmm. So Jenny, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And everybody stay in touch with her, connect with her so that you can get ready for her launch. And, we'd love to have you on again when you're ready to launch or right after your launch, so that we can help you promote. Because
I would love that. Thank you so much.
So Henny can hear it in the back.
Yeah, say it again. What your business is and what you're getting ready to launch, and then
so it's called Little Egg, and it's a service. It's an online platform that helps family and friends contribute to a kid's education and savings account, or just give them a financial gift. And it pairs that with the ability to leave a memory, message, or video, so that then when the kid gets the sum of money or the gift, they then have a record of all these messages and memories that all their friends and family have left them over the years.
Yeah.
And that's hello_little egg at Instagram, or just hello little egg, all one word, on Facebook. And we launch in August.
Yes. Yep. Congratulations. Enhorabuena.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Jenny, for coming. Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure having you. It really was. And it was, and we can't wait to have you back on again. Yes. So everyone, thank you for coming on. Don't forget, Sunday is our book signing up in Bristol. There is still time to get tickets. You can pay at the door, but we kind of just want a head count. So 2 to 4 p.m., be there or be square. Oh my God. But please come out. It'll be so much fun and it's very exciting. And so, yeah, thank you so much. Gladiator Guru, anything last thing you want to say before we go?
I won't be there at the book signing because I can't fly back home until next week. But wish me luck. Tomorrow I launch my coffee company, soft launch with my naturally orgasmic cafe company.
Soft launch, getting ready. Get ready, everybody, because once the real launch comes out, buy that coffee. So thank you, everybody, for coming on, and have a great weekend. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Yes, mi gente. And from the Gladiator Guru, breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.